All right, beautiful people, today we're going to check out the neo-soul scale, and to be honest, it's nothing crazy, like you might already kind of know it, but it's really just an approach to really bring out that neo-soul sound, okay? So it's a combination of pentatonic and just a full major or minor scale, but it's the way that we look at it and break it up that's going to bring out some of these cool licks and just make it so anything that you play is going to have that really cool, smooth, soulful sound, all right? So first we're going to look at the key of A minor, and we're just going to find that pentatonic scale that we all know and love right here on the 5th position. If I know my pentatonic scale, I know it goes like this. Okay, cool. And maybe if I'm a little bit more advanced than that, I know I could slide up from the 7th fret to the 9th fret, and I know that that is the next note in the scale. So this is how we're going to look at it. We're going to find our little neo-soul pattern as a series of whole steps, just 2 whole steps. So that's the first one, and the next one is right below it. So already right there we have something where we could just do slides in and out of like this. Or maybe even bring in some kind of bluesiness to it. And that's a nice neo-soul move right there. And what I'm doing is just all slides. So we're sliding in and out of the whole step and doing a quick in and out of a half step. And then pulling off back down to the 5th fret. And we can do that anywhere. Now I found that pattern, I have those 2 whole steps. Now I want to figure out where's the next octave of the pattern. And it's simply just, we could maybe memorize it, or we could think, okay, in this key I'm starting on the G and the C. So I find my G and C over here. Those 2 whole steps. And it's just symmetrical like that. In these 2 particular areas, it's completely symmetrical, so I could notice that and find it, and then I got it down. And I could do the same licks, right? And any variation of something like that. So now I have those areas, and it kind of brings me across the neck. I could say a lot with just those handful of notes right there and those handful of positions, and I'm already starting to bring out this kind of neo-soul vibe. All right, so now that I got that down, we're actually gonna add one more note to it and complete this pattern to really bring out just a little bit more interesting phrases and ideas, okay? So we have these 2 whole steps, just like we're doing, and all we're gonna do is add 1 half step right below it, right? Then right here. I know what you're thinking. 3 plus 3 plus 2 notes equals 8 notes. That's just a full major or minor scale. And yeah, you're correct. But the point is, when we look at it like this, we're not playing a scale or a solo that sounds like. We're not playing it to sound like that, man. We're playing it to sound smooth and tasty, and we're gonna go. We want it to give it that vibe, and it just kind of helps us pinpoint the sweeter notes, and it's conducive to those soulful lines, okay? So now we got these half steps. So now we got these whole steps, and we can add that half step right in there. Right, and I can bring it up the octave. And now it's starting to sound really sweet, right? I could think about just working those whole steps or bringing that little half step moment anytime I want, right? And of course, another just standard kind of soulful thing that's going to sound really nice is that kind of like half step slide thing, like a bluesy thing. But I can do it anywhere. So keep on throwing that in there along with some of these phrases, and it's going to sound really, really nice. Let's see if we can bring out a couple more licks, get a little bit more advanced, and think about neo soul. It's all about just playing tasteful slides, all right? And kind of bringing it in and out of those same areas. So if I go like this, I'm going to slide into the 12th fret and then slide out of the 11th fret. So I'm always starting on the 11th fret. Right? Now this one, I'm going to add the extra note down there, and I'm starting to really get just a little bit more advanced in combining my knowledge of all the patterns. I can do it over here. So right there, I got to change it up a little bit, right? I can't just go... I can't keep that same pattern, so I got to use my knowledge of where the notes are. And I do it right there. All right, so maybe I want to add a little bit more to that lick too, and just give it a little, just a nice little fun part at the end. So the idea is to take these licks and try them in all these places and kind of hear what they sound like, because it's the same lick, but in each different area, it sounds different, particularly the different notes, right? It'll bring out different tones, and depending on what chords you're playing it over, it's going to just have a totally different vibe. So play with it, and again, the idea is to bring out this phrasing and make it sound just really, really smooth, all right? Let's actually look at this chord progression that I've been playing over and just kind of... something to jam with, and also kind of understand why some of these notes sound cool over this chord progression, okay? So our chord progression is going to be D minor, E minor, F major 7. And then back down to E minor, and bring it back around again. So what this chord progression is basically in the key of A minor or C, right? So we're looking at like a 4. If I'm going to, let's say C. So I'm looking at a 2, 3, 4. That's it. So in the key of C, I'm going to be right here, just that same scale that we were doing, right? But it sounds kind of cool, right? Because we're not really in a strong C. There's no C chord there, so it's kind of hanging around. And these notes just sound a little bit more interesting when we play it like that. But let's look at how I'm playing this too. So we want to keep it really simple and just get like a nice backbeat groove. So I'm going to get my fingers on the middle 4 strings, tap, and to give it a little bit more of a groove, I'm going to just hit that bass note and kind of palm mute it to give it a nice little thing. And right there. 2 hits on an E minor, and then tap, grab that F major 7. I'm going to do a nice little palm mute and get those extra downbeats at 3 and 4. And that's going to be our groove. Now, if you're jamming this with the homies, maybe you don't want to play the same thing the whole time. You want to give it a little bit of variation. So there's just really simple options for variation, and one of them is just a simple rhythmic thing. So at the end, instead of going like that, we could just give it a cool little rhythmic vibe. Just like that. So we're going to hit that F major 7 twice, and a quick tap in E minor. And that's just a nice little flow. It kind of breaks it up a little bit and gives it this. It's very nice. It's very nice. So it's just a little something that's going to break up the monotony and just make it a little bit more interesting while you're comping whoever else you're jamming with. And then one more simple thing that we could do that it's a very nice kind of like ear-popping kind of thing is... anytime that you see, basically anytime, let's just call this rule of thumb, anytime that you see 2 minor chords in a row, You could always connect them chromatically, and it's basically always going to sound pretty good. So here we got the E minor and the D minor, right? So I can go. It's just got this really nice harmonic flow. So I'm just going to replace that for those last two beats. Instead of F major 7 to E minor 7, I'm going to go E minor 7 to E flat minor 7 to D minor, just like this. All right, so let's take this concept and put it in a different key just so we really understand how to find it and what's going on. So I'm going to find the key of C sharp minor, and that's going to bring us over to the 9th fret right here. Right, I know my pentatonic, and I just find that middle part, and again, I should be like, okay, I know I'm always kind of sliding or doing my bluesy things right around there. So that's where my 2 whole steps are going to start. Right, so I got some of my licks. And then I find my next octave up, right there. Right there, so I just want to see those 2 whole steps. Very symmetrical. And then from right there, when I get a little bit more familiar with that, I could be like, okay, where's that extra half step just right at the end of either pattern? Right there. The same over here. So just find these exact licks in every one of those positions, and then I'm really starting to lock it in. I'm really starting to get comfortable with looking at the scales like this and bringing out these licks and these ideas, and again, to bring out these phrases and for it to inspire that soulfulness, right? Even that simple thing right there. Where is it? Just like that. All right, sweet. So I got my vibe going. Now I'm just gonna kind of jam over this and see if I can bring out those licks and see what's going down, all right? Guys, be sure to download the tabs of my Patreon. I have all these licks in both keys, and then the rhythm part as well, just so you could really look at it and absorb it and lock it in really good. And don't forget, this is just a start. Anything that you're jamming with, you want to play along and try and insert these licks with whatever song or thing that you're jamming with. You want to be like, okay, what key am I in? And where's the scale patterns? Find it, apply it, and then boom, it gets more and more comfortable with you, and it just gets better and better from there, okay? So jam it and stay nasty, baby.